I'm Mark Craig, and I'm president of Community Housing Network. I'd like to welcome all of you and thank you for joining us here today as we break ground on Jefferson Oaks. Jefferson Oaks is a $17.6 million investment in the city of Oak Park. More than 2 years ago, boy, it's been quite a journey. More than 2 years ago, the city invited us to come talk to them about possible uses for repurposing this property. This property used to be the Thomas Jefferson School under the Ferndale School District. The school district decided to decommission the property a couple years ago and wanted to find a way to put it to good use. And we think we've done just that. Mayor Marion McClellan, the Oak Park City Council, and all of the staff at the City of Oak Park have been terrific partners and terrific people to work with throughout this process. We are very excited about the beginning construction on this community, this new community within Oak Park, I should say, and we'd like to recognize some of the partners that have been involved in making this possible. This 60-home mixed income community includes the adaptive reuse of the school that you see behind me into 20 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, and on the remaining property, 40 3- and 4-bedroom units. We are a nonprofit. We were established in 2001 with the goal of strengthening communities by providing various kinds of housing resources in many different ways. But the principal belief that underlies everything that we do is that communities are successful when everyone, people with all kinds of life experiences, have the opportunity to be a part of the fabric of their community. We believe in inclusive communities, and we build inclusive communities. With that in mind, Jefferson Oaks will have 21 units of supportive housing. All of the homes will be appealing and affordable to hardworking individuals and families. We know the need is great for high-quality, affordable housing. This number may surprise you. As of yesterday, there were more than 1,600 inquiries from prospective people who want to live in Jefferson Oaks. Despite the considerable demand for affordable homes, the government transition in Washington, D.C. created some challenges. The work at this point on Jefferson Oaks illustrates how a developer can successfully work with the city government and other partners to improve a community. Our partners with us here today, and some unable to join us, worked extremely hard to make this happen. In a moment, you're going to hear from the leaders of several partners who have been instrumental in bringing this new community to life. There are also several other organizations and individuals, some of whom are here today, some are not, who I would like to recognize for their essential support of this development. First, Gary Heidel, Edwin Harlan, Andy Martin, Liz Rademacher, Kathy French from Mishta. Next, Eric Tungate, Kim Maroney, and the staff of the City of Oak Park. Superintendent Blake Pruitt and the Ferndale Public School Board of Education. Willie Brooks from the Oakland Community Health Network. Tim O'Brien and the entire team at O'Brien Construction, our general contractor for the development. And Tim, I'm still kind of hoping that you'll let me drive that bulldozer, but Jim Pappas, Bob Schaefer, and their entire team at Fusco, Schaefer, and Pappas are architects. And our supportive services partners at Hope Hospitality and Warming Center, JVS, Haven, Common Ground, and Oakland Schools. And I'd like to make a special shout out right now to a couple of my colleagues at Community Housing Network, without whose exemplary performance in persistence, perseverance, overcoming challenges, and sheer determination. This project wouldn't have been possible. And that's Kirsten Elliott and CJ Feltman. So thanks to them. First of all, I'd like to introduce you to Marion McClellan, Mayor of the City of Oak Park. Again, we are ever grateful for her work, as well as the work of City Council and the staff in making this community possible. Mayor?
Thank you, Mark. I am here to officially welcome you all to the great city of Oak Park on behalf of our city council members, and one of them is here with me today, Council Member Keisha Speech. You have come to Oak Park at the perfect time. We had been sort of the sleeping giant, quietly sort of slipping downhill for a while, and thanks to City Manager Eric Tungate and Community Development Director Kim Maroney, we have turned that sucker around. A few of the things that have happened recently to get us in the news, Federal Express decided to take over the Armory property and built a 300,000 square foot project there for distribution. They can do 15,000 packages an hour. They're going to bring 400 jobs to the city of Oak Park and tax money for the first time because it had been a federal armory. So we're happy to see them. Then I was exercising at the brand new Planet Fitness the other day, and a woman was there from Midtown. I said, "Why did you come from Midtown?" She said, "I've tried them all. Oak Park's the best." So lots of things are happening. We have a wonderful police department, and community relations is their forte. They are reaching out to the community in so many ways to make it a wonderful place to live in Oak Park. So they're having 10 of our officers are mentoring young men from junior high school in their free time. We've got an ice cream truck. Have you heard about the ice cream truck? So to improve relations, and so that the only time you see an officer isn't when they're handing you a ticket, community businesses chipped in, and they got the truck, they got the ice cream, 400 bars a week for nothing. They've got lights and music and everything. They're going to be driving down, patrolling, and passing out ice cream to kids. And we were told if the parents look sad, the parents can have a bar too. So we have a K-9 unit for the first time. Things are starting to cook. When you have economic development in a city, it develops momentum. And 6 years ago, it was pretty sad looking in Oak Park. But Kim Maroney and her department have turned that around. And the whole spirit of the city has improved. We have been waiting for this day for a really long time. What I learned about with economic development is it always takes a little longer than you expect. But this historic Jefferson School, built in the 20s, it was built with love and built to last, because they built them right back then. And it could easily have gone to blight. Could have been one of those buildings with windows, broken windows, and weeds growing around it. But instead of that, it is being repurposed today. It's getting a new life as Jefferson Oaks. So it was Thomas Jefferson School with a proud history, well built, and using historic buildings is a trend that we're very supportive in Oak Park. We couldn't have better partners than Community Housing Network. We met them when there was a housing crisis in the city. An apartment building had been shut down because the landlord wasn't paying the water bill. And so people who lived there were out of luck. They had to find someplace to live in a hurry. And I called 3 housing nonprofits, And Community Housing Network had a representative standing next to me in the apartment building in an hour. So I thought right away, these people have it going on. They're good, caring people who are in the business for the right reasons. They are committed to quality, they're committed to people, and they're committed to communities. Mark Craig and CJ Felton have been good friends of Oak Park since before this day, before the first shovel hit the ground. First, there was a community garden here on the grounds, and people were concerned because we were going to tear up the community garden. Well, they didn't tear up the community garden. They helped the gardeners move it to a new, wonderful site. That takes a lot of heart, a lot of caring. They didn't have to do that. They held meetings with residents with concerns. People were very concerned about what's going in here, what kind of people are going to be my neighbors. And wonderful people are going to be your neighbors. And meetings were held to answer every question respectfully. That was an amazing thing. There is a plan to start a neighborhood association in the building, but not just for the building residents, for all the residents in the neighborhood around the streets, because they are joining a neighborhood and they are going to be part of a neighborhood. And that just warms the cockles of my heart, and there's nothing like warm cockles. They have high standards in everything they do. We saw a building that they had, a similar building that they had built 15 years before, and it was in perfect repair. Not only do they build it right, but they maintain it beautifully. There wasn't even a crooked tulip in the garden. They are treating this Oak Park site as if it was their home. And that's heartwarming because it's our home. In March, the Michigan Municipal League held a conference, Capitol Conference in Lansing. One of the main topics of discussion was the lack of affordable housing in Michigan and around the country. So there was up north, there was an upscale community, Traverse City, that had a lot of beautiful homes and upscale shopping, and they opened a restaurant. And the restaurant had to close, not because there wasn't business, plenty of business. It was because they couldn't, the workers who wanted to work there and pay taxes and join the community couldn't afford to live there. And by the time they drove a mile, an hour away to live in something affordable, it didn't make sense for them to be working in that location. So it's a nationwide shortage, and we're doing our part in Oak Park to solve the problem. This lovely development is an important component of our turnaround in Oak Park. And we look forward to a wonderful long-term relationship. And we'd like to welcome you to Oak Park. And I think I'd like to introduce Assistant City Manager Kevin Yee to introduce our staff who had so much to do with this.
Oh, good morning. On behalf of our city manager, Eric Tungate, who had a prior engagement, I want to welcome you all to this great groundbreaking ceremony. I would like to, as there's been many thanks going around, but in particular, Community Housing Network has been a fantastic partner in this. They have met with our residents who had a lot of concerns several times. They've come to council meetings. They have addressed the concerns of residents and all of our employees as well. So Mark Craig, CJ Felton, and Kirsten Elliott, I want to really give a very sincere thank you to all that you have done to make this project go. From the city, I know that there's already been a lot of thanks for our city manager, Eric Tungate, and our Community and Economic Development Director, Kim Roney. I wanted to send those out as well. They have worked very diligently and hard to bring this project forward. I also want to thank Kevin Rokowski, our city planner, Rob Barrett, our Director of Technical and Planning Services, and Dave DeCosta, our Deputy Director of Technical and Planning Services. They run the building and engineering departments and are going to see this project through in a very timely manner and to have the project get off the ground quick here. The Jefferson Oaks project provides our community with high quality, affordable housing. We've all talked about that, but I am very proud to have this development here in the city and to offer new residents with an opportunity to live in a great place and to come to Oak Park and live in Oak Park every day and enjoy our services and all the amenities that we have to offer. We look forward to welcoming our new residents, and I want to thank you and welcome you all here. So thank you very much.
We're good. Thanks, Kevin. Now, I'd like to introduce you to Earl Plesky. Earl Plesky is the Executive Director of the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, or MISHDA. Earl?
Good morning. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for everyone for being here. I also want to draw your attention to the several MISHDA employees who are here today. They're the ones who do the real work in these projects. I just get to stand up here and make a speech at the groundbreaking. They are the ones who are the community-minded folks, and their developers, their accountants, sharp pencil guys like me. I'm a CPA by profession, but they're the ones who do the real work, and I just want to thank my several employees that are here. I'm also proud to be among our friends Mark Craig and the others from Community Housing Network. I met with him first in your project is it East Detroit? East Point. I'm sorry, I'm still the old school, East Detroit. But what I found there, and what you find all around the state of Michigan, is that affordable housing is attractive, well-maintained, has waiting lists, and you wouldn't mind having it as a neighbor, and I'm sure the folks in this neighborhood will love having Jefferson Oaks as its neighbor here in Oak Park. We're proud to be able to do our job being to make sure that the tax credits are appropriately allocated. I think there's going to be some urgency to get some work done here so that the funding can be well done by the end of the year. That's all part of assembling the capital stream that's necessary to do projects like this and to allow Community Housing Network and our other partners to take the risks of building that always come along, especially in a building with this age. There are going to be surprises here. There are going to be risks. But we're so proud of our partners to have analyzed it as well as they have and be prepared to take this risk, the largest risk, as I understand it, Mark, that you guys have taken in your building careers. MISHDA's job also will be to make sure that this project is well managed over at least a 15-year period. That's the 15-year period of the low-income housing tax credit, which is what we're responsible for. I want to emphasize to you, as I think Mark alluded to, that discussions that go on in Washington affect how much we can do and what can be done out here in flyover country. Whether the low-income housing tax credit continues, what changes there might be with federal income tax rates, what effects there might be with federal budgets. All of those affect what can be done out here where folks actually live. So we're going to continue to encourage good business in Washington. This is a magnificent old building. It's going to continue to serve its community well in the next few years. We're seeing buildings like this around the state being repurposed as they are, and we're so proud of the work that you're doing, Mark, you and your partners, and we're proud to be a part of it as the Michigan State Housing Development Authority. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Earl. I'd like to introduce now someone who I got to know quite well in our first development that Community Housing Network was involved with, and that's Mark McDaniel, CEO of CityOfOakPark. Mark.
Thank you, Mark. 25 years ago, when SNAIR was created as the Michigan Capital Fund for Housing, we're on our third name now, but we were originally the Michigan Capital Fund for Housing. The whole reason we were created was to do developments like this. This is a perfect, I was just telling Mark earlier today, this is the whole reason we came to be. Because back then, as even today, investors, national investors, and that had no interest in a development that had a nonprofit as an owner, serving special needs populations in a community like Oak Park, and less than 100 units. I mean, you could not raise money for it. And that was why we came to be. So to be out here today, representing and seeing the hard work that Mark and his group has done to do exactly what we were created to help him do, this is a such special one for us, because it really is everything that of what we are and what we do and the committed staff we have. I really have to thank Mishta for having the vision years ago, and the commitment to seeing that the permanent supportive housing model was the solution to people in need. Mishta led the way in the country for bringing that model here to the state of Michigan. They've had a major commitment with policy and resources to carry that out, and that's another reason this development is happening. It's another reason why Mark Craig and his group have, finally kind of gotten the attention that they deserve for the hard work that they do every day in taking care of people who people like to forget. We're blessed to have had that vision years ago. We're also blessed to have an investor who had the same kind of vision, that there's a need out there that's not being served. That's United Healthcare Group, who is the investor in this development, investing almost $15 million through us and our partner, the Minnesota Equity Fund. Think about it, we got the Minnesota Equity Fund coming all the way to Michigan because this deal is so good. And also United Healthcare Group, they have a huge commitment to this type of housing and helping solve these needs. And in fact, when we get done here, we're going to head to Lansing and have a grand opening of another very similar type of development there that they supported. They've done over $35 million in the state of Michigan here just recently through this partnership we have. And we're very, very lucky to have a socially motivated investor working with us like this. We're on two sides of this. We're also doing the loan, the permanent debt on this through our Westpath lender that we represent. So we've got a permanent forward commitment on this to do the takeout for $2.3 million on top of the $15 million that we've been able to bring in through United Healthcare. So we got risk all over this. So it's very, it's really cool to be here today. We've got to recognize our staff who, they put the blood and sweat and tears into this, and there was a lot of blood and sweat and tears in this one. This was not an easy deal right up until a week ago. Our staff gets scared when I show up for a investment committee meeting. That's not a good sign. But I had to go to one to make sure we got this straight and we got it right. But I want our lead underwriter on this, on equity, Katie Atkins. Tom Caldwell is our senior financial analyst on this. David Rudolph, who's going to live and breathe this as our asset manager after it all gets built. And also Mark Erickson, who's our general counsel, works out of our Detroit office. So I want to thank all of you for the hard work you put into this one. It was tough, but it's going to be worth every bit of it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Mark mentioned United Healthcare's role in this. They've really stepped up and been a great financial partner to us in making this development happen. So I'd like to introduce Dennis Morris, CEO, United Health. I want to make sure I get your title right. CEO, United Healthcare Community Plan of Michigan. Dennis?
So the CEO for
Community and State, which is the Medicaid line of business for United Healthcare. He talks a lot about, national strength, local execution. And so this is a good example of what the team in Michigan, my team, is able to accomplish, because there's a lot of competition to get these dollars in different states across the country for United Healthcare. And so we do our part to make sure, as best we can, to make sure that we get that. First of all, thank you, Mark, for the introduction. It's wonderful to be here today with so many community leaders and development partners and residents of Oak Park to celebrate this important groundbreaking event. We applaud the work that's done by these development partners. I mean, just sitting here listening to all the work that was involved in pulling all this together from the Community Housing Network, CINER, and others has just been awesome. And I was talking to the folks from the Community Housing Network earlier, and how many years that this project actually started for them, and the work that was involved with that. United Community Plan of Michigan is proud to be the largest investor, as Mark indicated, in Jefferson Oaks, providing $14.6 million, almost $15 million, like he said, of equity through the partnership with CINER, the Minnesota Equity Fund, and the Michigan Housing Network. People, including in some of these interviews today, often ask me, why is a healthcare company investing in helping expand housing opportunities for folks? The answer is actually a simple one. The main mission for United Healthcare is to help people live healthier lives. These types of investments help us achieve that goal by connecting housing and health. There's a clear link. We could see that in our data, and I think it's just well known and intuitive that it would make that connection. We like to provide individuals and families with access to safe, quality, affordable housing, along with the supportive services that go along with that. To achieve better health, housing is a critical element, and we understand that at United. That's why, in addition to United Healthcare's $14.6 million investment in Jefferson Oaks, we're also announcing today another $3.7 million investment for a new 24-unit apartment community with supportive services in Hart, Michigan. These investments underscore United Healthcare's commitment to helping build new quality, affordable housing, together with our partners CINER, Minnesota Equity Fund, and Michigan Housing Network. We've provided nearly $35 million to help build 4 new communities here in the state, and over $350 million nationally. In fact, we're leaving here today, as Mark mentioned, we're heading up to Holt, Michigan, to do the ribbon cutting. I was fortunate to be the one that did the groundbreaking up there a year ago. It was like 100 degrees. It wasn't a beautiful day like today, but it was fun to actually do that groundbreaking. And I haven't been in this actual area since then, but I'm pretty excited to go see the finished product, just like I look forward to seeing this finished product sometime in 2018. In many cases, our investments focused on helping those in our communities with the greatest need for quality, affordable housing, such as those struggling with homelessness, our military veterans, seniors, and people living with special needs. So on behalf of more than 1,100 United Healthcare employees who live and work in Michigan, our company is proud to be a partner in Jefferson Oaks. When completed next year, Jefferson Oaks will be a shining example of the innovative new ways that public and private sectors are coming together to create new models for housing and building communities. It's wonderful to be a part of such a great effort that will not just have a positive impact in this region, but will be the home to so many individuals and families for years to come. Another thing is, I thought I met Mayor McClellan earlier, and that was, I even got a hug just because that's another one of my benefits being in this job and being able to represent United. And I after talking with her briefly and listening to her talk, I'm proud to be a part in supporting your efforts, Mayor, for affordable housing, to help, improve the quality of life for the residents of Oak Park, and in general, just helping people live healthier lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I think you're starting to get a sense that it takes a lot of partners coming together to make developments like this happen. I'd like to introduce one more partner before we actually go over there and start moving some dirt and getting this thing underway. I want to introduce David Lochner. David is let me make sure I get the title right. Okay. East Michigan Regional President for Huntington Bank. David?
Thank you, Mark. So now I'm the guy standing in the way of getting this project started. So I'll try to be brief because we want to get things going here. And thanks for the introduction, Mark. Communities has been a really important community partner for us, not just in this project, but in many other ways that they make a difference in the communities that we serve. I'm really honored here to be here today on this exciting occasion for this groundbreaking. You know, as many of you know, Huntington has had a long and deep history of community engagement, really going back through our 150-year history. We're really proud to say that it's not just something we do over here on the side. It's something really that's in our DNA, and it's a way we do business and interact with the communities that we serve. And I personally am proud to be a small part of that. At Huntington, we believe that getting involved in transformational projects like this one is really central to our mission to help make people's lives better. And by the way, it's not just the right thing to do. Stronger, happier, and more stable families make for better regional economies, and that's good for our business, of course. And the availability of high quality and affordable housing, and I say both of those, high quality affordable housing, which I think this project really embodies, is fundamental to the health of any community. And this project will be an important driver to a brighter and better future for Oak Park and for this great state of Michigan. A great deal of work, many have talked about this morning, a lot, these things are great when they come together on a beautiful day like today, but there's just a lot of hours of work to put these structured deals together and to really create a project that's going to fulfill the dream and purpose for quality affordable housing. Many people in the community have come together for this project. You've heard from them. Bringing this project to fruition is truly a great example of public-private partnership. And it makes things happen in this state, and we're proud to be part of it. On behalf of all my colleagues at Huntington, we salute each of our partners who played an important role. You've heard from them in community housing, the City of Oak Park, and Mayor McClellan's office and staff, the City Council, MISHTA, awesome, and United Healthcare showing up in such a meaningful way. I'd also like to quickly acknowledge Huntington's own Christina Tracy, our Vice President for Community Development Lending, who was planning on making the trip. She's literally back at the office working on documentation so we can get the money ready for this, get this off the ground. Yeah, that's a better and higher use for her right now, I think. But I also have our community development team for this market: Renee Williams, Rochelle Kippy, and Courtney Ellich. Just raise your hand and say aye. Thanks. Thanks. Thank you all for allowing Huntington to be a partner with you to provide a place where people can affordably live, raise their families, and enjoy the many benefits of a great community environment. We look forward to continued partnerships, many more, I hope, many more projects like this one, as we work together to move our communities forward. Thank you.
Thank you, David. When completed next year, Jefferson Oaks will be a model community that brings quality homes with amenities for individuals and families who want a wonderful place to live and play. But first, we have to get started, and we're going to break some ground. As much as I like groundbreakings, I like ribbon cuttings even better. So I look forward to seeing you all back here again in 2018 when we do just that. Once we get the shovels in the ground, I invite you to feel free to take a tour of the site, and I and a number of our staff and board members are going to be here to talk to and ask questions and all of that sort of thing. So once again, thank you for coming today.